Слава Ісусу Христу! Dear brothers and sisters, today we just heard a story about a crippled woman who was sick, as St. Luke puts it, for 18 years. And eventually she is cured by Jesus Christ. Today I would like to speak to you about suffering and perhaps sadness. Oftentimes, when we, weak and fallen humans are faced with any kind of disease or suffering, we unfortunately end up asking wrong and dangerous questions. Like, for instance, some people tend to say, "This is so unfair. Why God is punishing me? Look, I even come to church on Sundays." We start oftentimes be jealous. How come this person, he doesn't go to church, doesn't obey the church commandments, yet he doesn't have this disease, but I do. And we end up being in despair. Often start self-pitying ourselves, thinking how the world is unfair and how are we so poor and miserable. And at times we don't see a way to get out from this vicious cycle of self-pity and despair. For St. Philip's Fest, I decided to buy one book for me to read. This book is called Life Without Limits by Nick Vujicic. Maybe you've heard or seen some videos on YouTube about him. This person was born without legs or arms. However, he was able to overcome his disabilities to live an independent, rich, fulfilling, and, as he puts it, ridiculously good life, while serving as a role model for anyone seeking true happiness. See, oftentimes, when we over-concentrate on our suffering, on our misery, we tend to forget how good is the Lord, how much more to life is than our self-pity and despair. So for that matter, I would like to read you one page of what this person, Nick Vujicic, has to say. Today, in my travels around the world, I often see incredible suffering that makes me grateful for what I have and less inclined to focus on what I may lack. I have seen orphan children with crippling diseases, young women forced into sexual slavery, men imprisoned because they were too poor to pay a debt. Suffering is universal and often unbelievably cruel. But even in the worst of slums and after the most horrible tragedies, I have been heartened to see people not only surviving but thriving. Joy was certainly not what I expected to find in unfortunate but accurate nickname and the community's rank order come from the fact that most of its 50,000 residents sustain themselves by combing through Cairo, dragging its garbage there and digging through it. Each day they soar through mountains of refuse pulled from a city of 80 million residents, hoping to find objects to sell, recycle, or somehow make use of it. Amid streets lined with garbage piles, big pans, and stinking trash, you would expect people to be overcome with despair. Yet, he writes, I found it to be quite the opposite on a visit in 2009. How about that? The people there live hard life, to be sure, but those I met there were very caring, seemingly happy, and filled with faith. Egypt is 90% Muslim. Garbage City is the only predominantly Christian neighborhood. Nearly 98% of the people are Coptic Christians. I've been to many of the poorest slums in all corners of the world, but this one of the worst as far as the environment. But it was also one of the most heartwarming in spirit. We squeezed nearly 150 people into a very small concrete building that served as their church. As I began speaking, I was struck by the joy and happiness radiating from my audience. They were seemingly beaming at me. My life has rarely seemed so blessed. I gave thanks that their faith lifted them above their circumstances as I told them how Jesus had changed my life too. I spoke with church leaders there about how lives in the village had changed through the power of God. Their hope wasn't put on this earth, but their hope is in eternity. In the meantime, they'll believe in the miracles and thank God for who He is and what He has done. Before we left, we presented some families with rice, tea, and a small amount of cash that would buy them enough food for several weeks. We also distributed sport equipment, soccer balls, and jump ropes to the children. They immediately invited our group to play with them, and we had a ball, laughing and enjoying each other, even though we were surrounded by spoilers. I will never forget those children and their smiles. It just proved to me again that happiness can come to us under any circumstances if we put our total trust in God. How, he writes, how can such impoverished children laugh? That's a good question to ask. How can prisoners sing with joy? They rise above by accepting that certain events are beyond their control and beyond their understanding too, and then focusing instead on what they can understand and control. My parents did just that, he writes. They moved forward by deciding to trust in God's word that all things work for the good of those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. He writes, you can always control what happens to you. There are some occurrences in life that are not your fault, And when we look at people like that, examples, let us evaluate our life. Let us think, are we crippled by the Spirit or not? What are the things that bring us down, that makes us despair, make us to close up in our misery and suffering? Today,